Hello, everyone. This is Mike from Dimensional Walking. And today I want to talk about, I don't want to call it a smoking gun. I won't call it a smoking gun. In fact, I'll repeat it at the end. I don't think this is exactly a smoking gun, but I think it's really fascinating. So, back December 2013, I had my group in New Mexico, the New Mexico UFO Paranormal Forum, and we brought in speakers from all over the country. We brought in speakers from the desert, from the Southwest. But anyways, this particular day, I brought in a speaker, a local speaker actually. His name was Jimmy, and he was a conspiracy type person that dealt with conspiracies. And so we looked at a variety of different things in our forum. Some of it was UFOs, paranormal, aliens, just a bunch of different things. We'd bring speakers in, like I said, from all over. Well, Jimmy was kind of an expert actually on conspiracies, different types of conspiracies. One of the conspiracies that he was really interested in was JFK assassination. So Jimmy started out, and it was a really interesting presentation, and he started talking about the Russians and the Cubans and the mafia, and I guess the vice president, LGB, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and there were several other ones, and then he came to the CIA. And so this is the part that I would like to talk about, the CIA conspiracy, possibly involvement in the Kennedy assassination. So he brought up something I had never heard about before, and that was this memo that was called, it came to be known as the Burned Memo. And I come to find out by doing a little research, the Burned Memo was a memo that was sent from Kennedy to the head at the time of the CIA. And I'm going to go through it. Actually, I'm going to try to read it to you because I think it's pretty important to read to you. I had obtained it just recently from doing some research, and I got it off of NBC website. And basically, they had gotten it. They had gotten it quite a few years ago, probably back in the 2000s, maybe 2009 or 10, I believe it was. So I'm going to put a link in the description where you can actually look at it. I'm going to try to read it. It's kind of neat to look at yourself, but I'm going to try to give it a read. The other thing it was called, I was going to start explaining why it was called the Burned Memo. It's kind of interesting. Somebody, apparently the government is allowed to burn memos and things after so many years, and at least burn the physical piece of paper if it's on a piece of paper, and they probably have a copy of it digitally. Okay, so bottom line is supposedly this thing was like dragged out of, somebody grabbed this memo before it got burned. It would have been somebody in the CIA that grabbed it before it was burned. And I think that's kind of where the source is, and that's why it's called the Burned Memo. Okay, I thought it was fascinating, anyways, how it got its name. So let me go ahead and read that. Of course, this has to do with UFOs. Okay, otherwise I probably wouldn't have did this video if it didn't at least have something to do with some UFOs. So here we go. I'm gonna try to read as much as I can. In fact, I may start by, I have the document on my phone, so I'm gonna try to read it with the phone. I probably have to use my glasses because it's not that easy to read. So anyways, this is redacted, okay? And I will try to go through it, and I'll make some comments as I go through. So let me put my glasses on, sorry. And here we go. So the memo again is redacted. So the part that usually shows the emblem, which in this case would be the President of the United States, that is redacted. Then it says to the left, top secret, and then memorandum for, and it says the director, and in this case it would probably be John McCone, and then it says secret intelligence. Subject classification review of all UFO intelligence films affecting national security. Okay? And so it says, this is the president speaking now in this memo, as I had discussed with you previous, I have initiated, then it's redacted, and have instructed James Webb to develop a program with the Soviet Union in joint space and lunar exploration. So anyways, so by the way, James Webb, this is the James Webb, that this telescope that is doing all these fantastic things in outer space, the telescope was named after him, and he was the head of the brand new agency called NASA. Okay, just a little sidebar there, okay? So again, this is the president directing John McCone. He said, it would be helpful if you, John McCone, would have the high threat cases reviewed with the purpose of identifying of bona fide, not ones that were classified, but ones that were basically unknowns. Okay, it is important that we make a clear distinction between the knowns and the unknowns. Okay. And when I want to just stress what he's saying by unknowns is he's saying UFOs. And again, in the subject of this memo, it does say UFO intelligence. So it's one of the first times I had ever seen the word UFO used in a memo from a government source. It is important that we make this clear distinction between the knowns and unknowns, so that the Soviets do not mistaken that these unknowns are actually us. And that way, cooperation as a cover for intelligence rather than their defense and space program. I didn't really read that really well. I apologize because it isn't that easy to see some of the letters here. And I'm trying to do it on my cell phone. So when this data has been sorted out, I would like you to arrange a program of data sharing with NASA where the unknowns are a factor. If the unknowns are a factor, this will help NASA mission directors in their defensive responsibilities. Okay? So this is the point in which the United States is trying to have a relationship with the Soviet Union in space exploration. So I think he's worried about, because Kennedy was really interested in UFOs. There's been other comments and letters and things like that, him talking about UFOs, kind of on the side, but this really is saying something, especially when it's saying it to the CIA and also to the NASA, James Webb. So anyways, and then in the memo, it has, at the end of it, it has John F. Kennedy typed out. Then it has a bunch of other names that are handwritten. So I'm really not, I can't really identify what those other names are. But what I've done is I've sent this memo to a person that I know that is basically an expert on secret document formatting. This person will not be able to tell us if this is the real document, but that person will be able to tell us, yes, this seems reasonable that this could be a top secret document. That's all that person will tell us. But it's pretty interesting to know. Or the person may come back and say, it's just a fake, period. That person could probably do that, just so you understand. So anyways, here's what my conclusion is. This is not a smoking gun at all, okay? But what it is it's a possible glimpse in, first of all, Kennedy's interest in UFOs. And he felt that there could be some danger that maybe other countries may feel that we or the Soviet Union or some other country have this technology, and we could be stirring up or causing some issues or problems. So I think he was aware of it from that thing. Now, apparently, as the conspiracy world swirls, there was feelings that the CIA was involved in a Kennedy assassination. Now, apparently they were involved, and they always have been. I have no doubt about that, in UFOs. Okay, and to what extent they were involved in how they were studying them, etc. They probably were separate from White House presidents, etc. So there's a possibility they were into something really big and really strange, and they didn't want the president of the United States, especially John F. Kennedy, to know about this. Okay, it seems like that's kind of the direction that the conspiracy people are saying. And I think it's a possibility. I really do. Because I do know from my own personal experience with talking to people from the CIA that there has been this long-term interest in UFOs. Now, they didn't tell me much detail. Obviously, they wouldn't. Okay? So I think another little factor is, and probably many of you have heard the other little smoking gun conspiracy thing, possibly that Marilyn Monroe, who was having an affair with John F. Kennedy, possibly he had told her some stuff about UFOs. And I think probably the CIA probably felt maybe that was inappropriate. Who knows what she may have told somebody else. So I'm not saying they did her in, but who knows? Who knows? Okay. So I guess what I'm saying here is that the bottom line is this is not a smoking gun, but is really, really fascinating to everybody that there's these little connections, maybe some dots going between the CIA, Kennedy's assassination. Now remember, this memo, this one of the other things is this memo was written in theory on November 12th, 1963. Kennedy is assassinated 10 days later. Okay? Now, you would actually think, though, that they would need more than 10 days to, plan an assassination on a president, on a sitting president, right? And I kind of believe that. I think it's kind of a big plan, and there's a lot of moving parts. So chances are they would have either had to have the plan in place well before the November the 12th when the memo was written. Anyways, I think it's a really interesting conspiracy thing. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies that have been flying around about the Kennedy assassination. Here's just one of it. Here is something that deals with UFOs. Do I think it's a possible link? I do. Anyways, let me leave it go at that. And again, if you like us, please like us. We need your subscriptions. And like Roy Rogers says, happy trails until we meet again. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.